You know what time it is. You know what time it is.
How firm my friendship. Oh, how
you know what time it is. I'm raw with them boys of the fall. You know what time it is. On the ground with a nose for the ball. You know what time it is. Blood, sweat, and them tears for this game. Leaving it all out on the field with no fear for you lames. Yeah, you know what time it is. Come brawl with them boys of the fall. Covered in gray and scarlet, massive, stiff arms to your jaw. We breaking it. We sick of seeing you clowns with the crown. We taking it.
What's good, Buckeye Nation? Welcome to the Buckeye Boys, where we talk college football with real fans. I'm Mello. That's Duke. That's Daniel. And we're happy to have you guys here on day 2 of draft night. How you fellas doing today?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
Good. Appreciate it.
Multitasking.
Absolutely. What you multitasking with? If you don't
watching this draft. Watching this draft.
Yeah, I'm trying to kind of watch it on my phone. Chat, keep me updated for when Will Howard gets drafted. He has to get drafted tonight because I have big time money on it. So
you got him going.
Up North fan podcaster, actually.
Day 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they're trying to say he's going to be a 6th or 7th round draft pick. I'm like, nah, he's going in the first 2 days, within the first 3 rounds. So
yeah, I thought
money.
Travion didn't go yet, did he?
Yeah, he went to the New England. He went 3 picks after he went to Cleveland.
Right.
All right, I'm picking. I might have to
be a
bring my
New England fan again.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, when did you stop becoming a New England fan? Was it when the Giants was thrashing them in the Super Bowls?
No.
Man, you can be honest. You know,
it was just last year. No, thrashing them like, come on.
Man, you know, New York was holding it down.
A couple of lucky throws. You know, the defense. I mean, the defense won those games.
I mean, Eli did his thing too. You can't spell
Eli. He was clutch. I will say he was clutch, but he wasn't the reason. He wasn't the reason.
I mean, he was part of the reason.
DT.
He had to make some clutch throws. So I mean,
no, there was one clutch catch.
Man, that was David Tyree. I know his family to be real with you. His little cousins are nasty in basketball. Yeah. So Daniel, what's your thoughts on the draft so far?
Man, I mean, couple things. I mean, really, man, it's people changing their lives in these next couple days, man. You know, guys are achieving their dreams. You know, families are, you know, seeing things like complete, you know what I mean? Man, it's a hell of a time for some guys, for all of these guys, man. I mean, you know, it's putting that in perspective. But, you know, I'm just going to put it back out there, man, because I thought we were kind of going with it, you know, before we kind of got going with the show here, man. We were kind of in a discussion, man, that, you know, I think it's kind of on everybody's mind, you know, when it comes to this draft thing, man. It's just like, you know, certain guys not being taken in certain places. You know, and I kind of want to get back to it, man. I think, you know, in that particular case, I think there's like something to it.
What case are you referring to?
I'm talking about, you know, the topic of the day, you know, Shedeur not going in the first round, you know, teams, you know, passing on him for whatever reason. You know, I think there may be, you know, I have my personal thoughts on what those reasons may be. You know, and we were kind of going with it, man. I, you know, just kind of, you know, like to hear the guys' kind of thoughts on that, and, you know, just kind of what they think about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting because, you know, you just think about previous drafts, and, you know, a lot of the, you know, the conversations around, you know, draft picks, and most of it was around their shortcomings, you know, whether it be, you know, size, speed, or, you know, if we're talking about a particular type of quarterback, a black quarterback, it's always, you know, he's athletic. You know, I want to see if he can, you know, do X, Y, Z in the pocket, and, you know, do this on time, process this, process that. And now here we are. You have somebody who actually is doing it, has done that at, at a high level, checked all those boxes, but you put the fact that he is clean off the field as well. You would think, oh, this is the guy I want leading my franchise. All things being equal, but it's not the case. So it's crazy to me that is happening. It really is. And
ooh, do we lose him?
I think he froze a little bit.
What it does, I did. Oh
no, you're good now.
Well, what's the last? Yeah, but it just goes to show that it's not talent all the time.
So if it's not talent all the time, man, in this particular case, and I think that's kind of what we were getting to, was just like then what do you think it is?
I think somebody has a bone or has an issue with the Sanders, Deion Sanders. His bravado, his confidence, his knowledge, just him as a man. And there are people like that. And there's people like that in powerful positions where they can, dictate these things and, quote unquote, humble somebody they can't man to man. And, that's just the world we live in, unfortunately.
So my question for you two gentlemen, because this has been going through my mind, this whole conversation. But hold on, before I ask you, we got a super chat that I want to get out there.
ATT to the Colts?
Huh? Who went to the Colts? He did?
I see that in the chat by multiple people.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Shout out to V for the $10. OH.
Nice.
Yo.
So what I wanted to ask you two gentlemen, seeing how you both have elite children, we're not going to sugarcoat it. I know you guys are parents, but me as a outsider looking in, I expect both your boys to be first-round draft picks when they leave. So what are you guys gleaming from this whole draft process and watching what's going on? Because now you have a different perspective. Yes, you're fans, but now it's like you have vested interest in this because you guys are going to be in that backstage area probably 2 years, 3 years from now, right? And you see what's going on with Shedeur and the Sanders. How does that affect you and how you guys decide to move forward with just your personal lives and how you guys handle your sons and how you are going to guide them and lead them on how they should portray and behave? Even though I already think you both have done a tremendous job, I just want to know, have you guys learned anything watching this draft process from the outside?
You want to take it, Dan? What have I learned? Nothing new, right? Like I'm just as bewildered by the situation myself. You know what I mean? I don't think only thing I would do with Riley is to sharpen up his interviewing skills. Just continue to help him with that, in that area. So, he's speaking articulately and able to express, himself clearly and concisely when he's interviewing, and that he, presents himself, his authentic self, in every interaction, and doesn't change up. So I won't tell him, don't change who you are, just, clean up how you are articulating, the information that they are asking you about. And you're able to articulate the knowledge that you have. That's the only thing that I would change. But as far as a young man, I won't tell him to be another way that he isn't. And just to always, just be his authentic self.
And what about you, Daniel?
Man, I would, just kind of, my personal thought on it is just like, just kind of understand that, the way that you are, is going to afford you certain opportunities, right? So, just you being your authentic self is not going to be, conducive to what certain things, brands, products, whatever it is you're talking about, may afford themselves to, man. So, just always keep that in mind, just, being true to who you are, may not be for everybody. So, in that instance, you may want to, do some kind of reflection on that, man. And just kind of understand those things that, that just is what it is, man. When you're out kind of representing somebody else, in what it is that they're being, man, they're asking you to be certain things, and if they don't ask you to be those certain things, that means that you don't meet those particular standards that those people are asking you to. So just always remember that. But man, on the personal side, just when I kind of look at this, man, I just kind of look, for myself, just how fast it flies, man. Being a young guy myself, watching the draft, things like that, man. And then you get to a point to where, man, where you're a grown man and sons of guys that you may have played ball with or being drafted or in those positions to where, they're close to that. Man, it's a weird thing. But man, again, man, it's something that we, been striving for, man. So, we just, that's what I think of when I'm watching this thing, man. It's just, how time is moving, man. How quick things flip, man.
Absolutely. And I know we were doing more of a discussion, but I have so many questions for you guys now that we're here in this conversation.
I got a couple questions for you, my man. I got a couple questions for you. I mean, first, on behalf of what, Duke and I are doing, man, we, wanted to thank you for, coming on here with us tonight, man. Sure. And also congratulate you, your daughter. Man, you're becoming part of the club, of dads who are, moving on, have kids that, are moving on to college, or scholarship athletes. Mm-hmm. So, man, you wanted to, kind of, again, congratulate you on that, man, and just kind of ask you, again, Pops Pod, we're two football dads, but we do have daughters, and I'm always interested in what guys are doing. Yeah, just what guys are doing with their daughters in other sports. I mean, again, you're unique in this situation. You got a daughter who's doing it, mm-hmm. and she's doing it in another sport that's different than what our sons are doing, soccer. So I mean, what did you learn from the process when you were doing this thing?
To be honest, I'm gonna just straight up be honest. There's a reason I keep saying Pops Pod is the most important show on YouTube. Period. You two have done so much for me and my family. People don't know I ask you guys questions, you answer them, even offline, text message, you guys do without delay. I know there was an event my daughter did, and she ran a faster time than she normally did, and she shouted you out on her own personal account because she knows you gave me the advice, and she knows I don't know anything about that sport, about track at all, but like she loved it. So honestly, the coaches are like, when we went out there for our OV, they were like, you guys are so different from other parents. Like, you're relaxed, you're letting her go through the process herself, and you're just sitting there supporting her. And the coach was like, we don't really get that much. How did you become that way? And I flat out told him, Pops Pod. I was like, we have two gentlemen. No, I'm serious. I was like, we have two gentlemen. One was his son was the number one DB in the country. I said cornerback. I tried to explain what it was, because a lot of soccer coaches, that's not their culture, so they don't really understand. Right. And now, like, the other one was the number one linebacker in the country in his class, and they're both at Ohio State. And I was like, I asked them a lot of questions. Like, before you guys came around, I was stressing. Like, seriously, I was super stressed. I tried not to show it on here. Some nights I would get off of here and I'm writing emails, helping her write emails to coaches. She had several different colleges interested. Yeah. And that's when I used to ask you guys, like, how do you know if a coach is lying to you or not? You know, by what they're saying. And I got a lot of intel from that. And both of you kept telling me, trust your gut, let her lead the process. And it's about relationships. So I took those three things. The best relationship she had was with CSUN. The head coach is the head coach scout for the U.S. national team, the entire West Coast, which Texas and SoCal has the best youth soccer in the world for girls. So they know what they're doing. The assistant coach coached in the NWSL at Seattle Reign, and he also does stuff with the national team. And the head coach is the head of ODP in America. So they know what they're doing. And they just told me, like, we could open doors. Told my daughter, we could open doors for you, but it's up to you to walk through the doors. And that's the thing in soccer. I don't know if it's the same in football for you gentlemen, but in soccer, a lot of it is who you know that knows who they know. You know what I mean? But it's up to your kid to put in the work. So when they get put in that position, they shine and they elevate.
Right.
Like where you do, your daughter's she's gonna be perfectly fine. I've been in your shoes. I know you stress out a little bit about it because
you have me.
Type of game, right?
Yeah,
it's a lot of political stuff involved on the soccer side, but I'm telling you, she's gonna be perfectly fine, man.
So let me ask you, man. So as you're not done yet, right? Because you haven't signed. You never until you actually sign the thing. But let's just say, in your mind, you're there. She's happy with what she's doing.
Yeah,
you guys are going to finish that up. Man, what's the one thing that looking back on it, man, that you wish you could have done a little bit differently, or wish something you would have known a little bit sooner.
Absolutely,
as going through the process.
That's a great question. Honestly, a couple of things I would have done sooner. I'd have started the email sooner, to be honest with you. From the day one from ECNL, I would have cut up highlights from day one. Marketing is huge. That's how they even found my daughter in the first place, was from her own X account. So with girls, the X account is huge to have. Cutting up highlights, putting it on there all the time, like once a week. When you have games this weekend, Yeah,
I don't want to cut you off, man, but man, since you're diving into that, man, let's talk about that. When it comes to that social media piece, man, when you're talking about putting a highlight together.
I got a quick question, Dan.
Go ahead.
So it sounds like recruiting is different then.
Oh yeah.
So they're not actually. So they're not like getting, like offers, like because their coaches are at, see them at their showcases, or they see them at they're looking at their huddle. You actually have to create their highlights and send them out.
Well,
there's not like a central place for them to, look at the talent. So
this is how because you're going to go through the same thing. Make the highlights periodically throughout the season, because there's going to be highlights in every game. Even if you're not sure, you can ask a coach, because something so simple as receiving the ball on the right foot, turning, opening up, and playing the right pass.
Yeah.
You might just think it's some regular thing, but a lot of kids don't do that. And the coach is like, look, she used the right foot to trap the ball. She turned the right way. She turned her shoulder, and she used the right foot to pass it, and she passed it to the right foot. Stuff like that is big. So when you're putting it up and you're creating that social media, which X is super important for girls. On the boys' side, they use more Instagram. So you do that, right? It draws the interest. You send out emails and with the highlights before the showcases, like I would say a week before the showcases.
Really?
They're going to come. You can send them your schedule as well. They'll come and watch. So the earlier, the better, because they could watch over a period of time and watch the growth, and then they're more invested into it. And with revenue sharing,
you have to be a lot more proactive than.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
In like basketball and football.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I guess for
so let's go ahead and just put a number on it, man. Just when you're talking about that, what do you think is the good age? When you're thinking about putting, your daughter in soccer. When we're talking at this kind of,
early.
I don't know if we want to run that fast when we're doing it. When we're just starting out, but when we're hopefully trying to get to that level, where we're doing those things.
So you said in terms of starting soccer?
Yeah,
I think soccer should be the baseline. That's the first sport you should have, whether you have a son or a daughter. That should be the first sport that you put them in, because what sport doesn't need footwork? Every single sport, if you have elite O-line, you need footwork. DBs, they need footwork. Wide receivers, linebackers, boxers, wrestlers, MMA fighters, everybody needs footwork. So I think having soccer as a foundation, whether your kid chooses to stay in it or not, is the best route you could possibly do with your child. So the earlier, the better. But I mean, if your kid has genetics, they're going to pick it up anyway.
Yeah.
You know,
I would say for me, it has grown. Like, I mean, actually, I love soccer now.
yeah.
Like, I'm probably watching more YouTube. I mean, like Instagram videos of, like, soccer players and, training and stuff than anything else right now. But what made me, like, get into it is, I used to think they just out there running around. And then until I think it was the World Cup 2010, we were actually in Europe, when it was going on, and we just got sucked into like that excitement, and they were like explaining it to us. So I, slowed down and watched it, and I likened it to like football. That's because that's what I know, and everything they do, like we do in football with the hands and feet, they do with their feet. They're receiving, the tackling, and so it's a very high level of gross and fine motor skills, like on the elite level. And it's just, I mean, it's actually pretty dang amazing, man. So I mean, I see why, fans are fanatical about Ronaldo and and Messi. I mean, because their skill set is like, I mean, it's unbelievable, man. It's an awesome sport.
So let me ask another question, man. Because this is still, I would say it's new, but it's not new. So I'm just curious, with in the case of like Devin and Riley, they early enroll. Is the same kind of pressure on like a soccer player when it comes to something like that, or is that just, man, hey, just do your thing, go ahead and graduate on time?
Well, every coach is not the same pressure, I don't think, but because you got to think about it, football is a very physical sport, so you need that early enrollment if you want to come in and be a day one contributor, just from a physical standpoint, because you're playing against grown men. Really, you're coming in at 17, 18 years old, you're playing against 21, 22-year-olds, so they have that longevity in the weight room. And then also in terms of just maturation, men develop later than women. But yes, a lot of them want you to come on early, but because they have a spring season, that doesn't count. They want to get you into the program, get you some games under your belt. We are not going to go early because we're going to go in July, which I guess that's early. It's not really early, but she'll have a whole month to acclimate. We have her in personal speed and agility and weightlifting skill sets and clubs in terms of training. And then she has 2 personal trainers, one down here. She's probably the best trainer in Georgia. She trained a whole bunch of pros. Some are playing over in Italy. Some are in the NWSL. Others are in MLS. My daughter trains with a lot of Atlanta United boys. They're ridiculous. Texas has a good one. His name is Cruz. And like I was saying before, he's an elite trainer, but he's not just an elite trainer. He's an elite trainer that knows people. Yeah. So that's where the doors open, right? So if your kid's getting that training behind them, they're already blessed genetically, because, I mean, there's certain things that you can't teach a kid. Like, you can't teach speed and athleticism, hand-eye coordination. You could get better at it, but certain kids have a higher baseline, right? There's not a whole bunch of Rileys and Devins just walking around America. Otherwise, I mean, you know what I'm saying? So, like, you get someone that can fine-tune your skill set and also knows people, and the doors are just going to open up. So, I mean, that's probably the main difference, I would say, from football and soccer. It's more in soccer is who you know that knows somebody.
Yeah. Hey, let me let 79 Steely Matt know. I went to Syracuse. That helmet, that is a Syracuse helmet with an Illinois sticker on it from the East-West Shrine game. That's not, I can see how you can get confused, but that is Syracuse, my man.
Man.
Yes, sir. So at the end of the day, really, to be honest with you, I do have to thank both of you, because you guys played a major impact. I don't think a lot of people know, because we haven't known each other forever, but just what your kids and your sons have gone through and how you guys handled it. And what I would say is a more high stake, more pressurized situation, because you got people throwing crazy astronomical numbers at your kids just to come there. And you really have to navigate what's real and what's not, and what's the best actual situation for us as a family. right? And I respect both of you guys and how you came to the decision to have your kids, allow them to go to Ohio State. So I after meeting y'all, the stress kind of relaxed for me, and I prayed a lot more. My daughter, she's highly faith-based. So she herself was never stressed, to be honest with you. It was more the parents. We were way more stressed than she was.
Yeah, always.
You know, and then like it just happened. And when we went on the OV, it was over. I knew it was the right coach when she committed and the coach started crying right there. And
wow.
That just hit me different.
That says a lot.
And then I got to shout out BJ Womack as well, because his whole thing of we treating it like a marriage. So if you commit, you're committed. There's several P4 schools that were talking to my daughter, you know, but she had the best connection with Gina and Kevin over at CSUN, and she loved the campus. So she asked if she could commit, and we were like, yeah, you guys been talking for a year. I'm comfortable with the coaches. I know they could get you where you want to go. And in soccer, there's a lot of coaching changes. So I brought that up because I was worried about that. Yeah. And they said, oh, no, if we recruit her, she's coming with us if we leave. If we go to USC, she's coming with us. Or if we go to UCLA, she's coming with us. So I was comfortable with it. And, she's committed. And like BJ Womack said, we're not looking. She's going to be locked in.
So did she have a dream school?
Ohio State.
Ohio State was a dream school.
And I'm going to tell you about Ohio State and what they're doing. I'm not going to try to bash them, but they seem to be, when we talk to them, they're more like, we want to recruit this state. And I think some of it has to do with the money, with the revenue sharing, the roster cap, and like they will have to give more money to make it look more enticing for out-of-state kid, right? But I watched them. There's a girl named Kennedy Kelly. Her number one choice was Ohio State. Her dad's from Cleveland. He's down here in Georgia. She's elite. She went to a camp. They didn't offer her or anything, so she ended up going to Stanford. Stanford is a powerhouse in soccer on the girls' side, right? Like their levels above Ohio State right now, honestly, historically. Then there's another girl.
You froze. Who?
Stanford.
Stanford. Okay. Oh yeah.
Then there was another girl, Kara Kroom. She's on the national team. Her number one choice was Ohio State. She's from here. They played her to the left. She's at she's at UCLA, which is also a powerhouse compared to Ohio State.
Yeah.
You know, and there's just a lot of cases like that. And I think they really want to do the in-state talent, which I don't know, to each their own. That's what they want to do. And that's fine. That's their prerogative. But yeah.
Right. But I mean, you at least take, if you have opportunity to get one elite out of state kid, I would think you would, jump on that. I mean,
and Kara Kroom, she trains with my daughter's trainer. I see she's legit, man. Her team, I think she won the Natty in the ECNL.
Oh wow.
Yeah, she's legit. She's on national team. She starts.
So yeah, the same way, we help, guide you with recruiting advice. I'm about to be leaning on you in this soccer.
Oh yeah, I'm telling you, you're in the right world, man. So this is the thing for you guys, right? This is a question they ask, and this is kind of like I tell my son. He's asleep right now. He's about to go to work, and he's heavily in the stock market. But he's one of those kids that got caught up in the COVID. So one day, my kids are the type of kids that they actually love the process of getting better more than they even like the game. They love the training aspect. They love getting faster. They love the weight room, in love with it. And he was like that, but for baseball. And he was training with Cam Collier, who got drafted out of high school. He went to school with Dylan Lonergan, who went to Alabama, but now he's at BC. He just transferred to BC. He played with a lot of players that got the people he was training with. I think 5 out of the 10 kids got drafted straight out of high school.
Oh, wow.
And his trainers, he ended up one day he just woke up. We had training I don't want to go. And it wasn't like him. So he ended up quitting. And then he dumped his girlfriend that he had for a couple of years the very next day. I'm like, what's going on? You know what I mean? His grades started plummeting. He was a 4.0 GPA kid. His grades started plummeting. So then I finally got a counselor to talk to him. His grades went back up. But he didn't go back to football or his girl. And I was like, well, you've been an athlete your whole life. I'm not going to watch you not do it because you're just going to spiral. So you need to find a different aspect. So I sent him to a business class that talked about stock markets and stuff. He became obsessed. Didn't realize he was investing money when he was in high school. Before he turned 20, he bought him a Tesla, his own Tesla, cash.
Dang.
So like he's obsessed with it. But to this day, he was like, yeah, I kind of regret quitting, and I didn't realize I was depressed. I mean, obviously, you're not going to realize that.
Yeah.
But his coaches were like, what is he doing? Like, he's going to get drafted out of high school. I'm telling you right now, I don't know nothing about baseball. I played basketball, football, and soccer. They're like, he's going to get drafted. I'm telling you. And then he watched it like, dang, I kind of wish I would have kept playing. I was like, it's all right.
How old is he?
He's 21 now. But why I'm telling y'all that story is because when my daughter's going through the recruiting process, every single coach asks, do you have siblings? Did your siblings play sports? Did they go to college? Where did they go? Where did they play? Did your parents play? So, like, that's why I'm saying, like, in terms of your daughters, once you start, oh, yeah, he's at Ohio State, they're going to know who they are, especially by the time they get to that age.
Yeah.
And that's just a checkbox where they're going to elevate jump kids on the list. You know what I mean? Because they're going to be like, genetically, that kid was elite. Her nephews are elite. So, obviously, chances are she's going to be elite.
Yeah.
The parents were elite. The parents ran track in college. The parents played football in college. Chances are the kid is going to be elite as well. So like that works in your favor as well. But the main thing on this side is who you know that and what they know and who they know.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's good.
Great stuff, man. Great stuff. Like I say, man, we're real happy, man, to help you through the process, man. Again, we just want to congratulate you, man. So
absolutely. And anybody watching Pops Pod, I'm telling you, these two gentlemen know what they're doing. They will help you. They've been through it, and they both had very elite athletes who they're gonna have a different perspective of what they're seeing, and they could absolutely help anyone. There's no doubt about it. And
it sounds like we need a soccer segment too, because
man, you're gonna begin to.
I mean, it's big. It's big here, man, and there's there's a lot of, parents like on, FC Dallas that, have kids that are, going to be in the same place that,
absolutely
would find a lot of value in, hearing your story and, and hearing more about the process for sure.
And location does matter, believe it or not. Where you guys are located is a hotbed right now.
Oh, yeah.
That and SoCal, and then I would say Jersey with PDA. Those are like the three hottest spots right now for youth soccer in America.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you guys some questions about the draft, right?
Mm-hmm.
So have you guys envisioned yourselves being behind stage and how you're going to react? How do you think your wives are going to react when they hear their baby's names get called across stage? And will you actually go and sit in the green room, or are you going to just do some like private event at your house or something local?
Man,
I
probably would go. I would. I think I would want him to experience that. I'm sure he would want to experience that. Walking across the stage and doing the whole thing. That he's been watching all these years. I'm like, yeah, it's my turn now. Yeah, I want to. I want to do that. So
that's gonna be.
I know I'll probably cry. I know I'm gonna cry. So.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Daniel?
Man, like I say, man, that's man, these are these kind of things, man. Those are dreams, man. Man, I can see it going both ways. I could see just kind of hanging at the house and making a party out of it. But man, I could also see us, going to that thing, man, and really doing it. Like I say, man, it's either one, man, be great, man. Like I say, it's.
And how do you think your wife is going to act Mama D?
Yeah, no, I don't know, man. I don't know how she's gonna take that one.
What about Juliet?
She'll definitely be emotional.
Yeah,
she'll definitely be emotional. Like everything will just come flooding back, and she'll see me silently just crying and she'll just like take off. But yeah, I mean, it'll be awesome. But what I will say, man, whether a first round, seventh round, man, like the opportunity to be able to, because I just this type of kid it's the opportunity.
Yeah.
So whether it's first or seventh.
Well, we're going
both of
your sons are going first round. And I don't mean to cut you off, but we're not talking that 7 stuff over here. But
yeah, no, I just want to put. I'm just being like real.
I know you're being real.
Like, yeah, it's awesome to like go first round, be the first pick. But I never want to minimize the opportunity.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Be one of the ones chosen with whatever number to play in that league, and so it's going to be a blessing however it falls.
Absolutely. So I remember you saying something about the interview process, which people are trying to say is a reason Shedeur slipped. Is he was nonchalant about the interviews, he was arrogant or cocky, whatever you want to say. He probably would say, no, I just believe in myself and I'm confident. But other people from the outside see how Deion's personality was, and they were like, oh, I can't disassociate it, which is the same thing I was saying about the soccer piece when they asked, what did your parents do? What did your brothers do? They're going to associate it. It's just natural because let's just face it. A lot of people can't do what you guys have done or what your sons do. So they don't know. They don't understand. So, and I guess my question is, does Ohio State prepare them? Have you talked to them about that? Prepare them for this interview process? Because I know they have guys come in and talk to them about where they're going to be drafted. My question is, do they have them go through mock interviews so that way they're ready for that as well?
Yeah. And I will say, because how my wife is, she is actually elite at interview prep. So if he's going to be anything, he's going to be prepared for an interview. But what also is, whatever agent they sign with, they bring in people to prepare them for that, prepare them for those interviews. They have connections that give them kind of the rubric of the type of questions that they're going to get, and prepare them for them, and to prepare for them. So
it's more on the agents and the individuals to be prepared for the interview than
they have an idea. I mean, he'll be able to give some insight into the type of questions that you're going to ask. But that's why I think him not being prepared or having a bad interview, I really don't believe. So.
But what if it is true? Would that I want Daniel to answer this one first. If that's true, right? And they're saying it's legit that he did horrible with his interview process, right? We don't know, we weren't there, but let's say hypothetically that's true. Would you look at his agent and maybe steer Devin and Riley away from that agency because of that?
Man, I'm going to be honest. Man, I would kind of self-reflect and ask myself, when did something like that start? I would be asking myself, what did I as dad kind of push that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just being honest
about
it.
No, that's fair.
I think that's really the question. When we're talking about what we're talking about here, I think a lot of the problem with this situation is I'm just gonna say it, man. And this is just my own personal thought. Man, I work in this house every day, man, not to pedestalize my son.
Okay, yeah.
To sometimes, to the detriment of my relationship sometimes, man, and I'm just honest about it because I refuse to do it because we haven't got there yet. Right. And I think that's what these guys that we're talking about may have kind of lost in the whole shuffle of the thing, man. They ain't got there yet. Right. And I know Daddy on that, man. That's but in this particular case, you haven't done it yet, man. You haven't earned it. You haven't, we can't put certain labels on certain things, man, unless we actually got there. So I think that's really the problem is with this thing, right? It's more, and I think that's the bigger question on this thing, man. When do we as dads, especially guys like, like ourselves, who played ball, when do we learn to let go? You know what I mean? When do we let, let the thing, just kind of work itself out and just kind of land where it does?
That's man, you just helped me kind of bring it down a little bit, because that is an excellent point. Excellent point, man, because there's one, instilling confidence, right? And then there's a time for you to, exude that confidence, and that's on the field, right? And then there's another way where you can exude that confidence, and that's the confidence in how you.
Man, my guy
answer
dropped
questions,
off.
how
There you
you
go.
and to your point, he's presenting more, and now I'm seeing it. I mean, that's such a great point, man. I'm seeing that, and I can see why that. But I would like that to be said, though, right? Because if I'm an uncle, I'm gonna say to like, come on, man, he ain't done nothing yet. I'm gonna say that to him, like you just said. I'm gonna say that. Like if I'm a former teammate, I got a relationship with Deion like that. I'm like, come on, man, he ain't done that. Like we tell our boys, it's a reset. Now, you were the man in high school. Now we reset, and you're back at zero. And now that should be said again. There's 2 times that you say that, right? It's coming from out of high school to college to the pros. You do. So a lot of times, I get caught up on the when people say, "Oh, you got to humble yourself." It bothers me, but I have to hear it, in a different way. And like how you said that, okay, yes, you got to bring it down and humble yourself.
Yeah, I mean, and that just goes to say, to a lot of things, man. We're talking about, a potential, face of the franchise, man.
Mm-hmm.
This guy's going to lead your locker room. He's got this kid. Let's be for real about what it is as men. You know what I mean? This kid has to go in there and lead grown men.
Right.
They got children in their home.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? So I mean, let's be real about this thing, man, and just be honest about it. Man, you got to conduct yourself a certain kind of way. You have to own that. You have to be an authority on these things, man. And that thing has to be, it has to be authentic, man. You know what I mean? You can't fake that till you make that.
You're right.
And guys gonna see right through that, man, and they're gonna eat that up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
So what advice would you give to Shedeur if he was your son? Like, I gotta put this out there. I mean, I don't want to, but it has to be discussed because it's a part of our society and the history of our society. I feel like as African American males, people look at us as arrogant sometimes. They feel like we could be conceited a little bit, but being an African American male, being an athlete when I was a child, it wasn't so much about arrogance. It's more about confidence and carrying that, because you need that, especially when you play against other elite athletes. Because if you don't have the confidence, you're just not going to perform well. And I think culturally, the African American society is different than the Asian society, which is different than the Hispanic society, which is different than the Caucasian American society, right? So now you're talking about a sport that's also $1 billion industry and business, and all those different cultures are coming together. And I feel like there might be a little bit of where each different culture and subset are not seeing eye to eye, and they're misjudging and misinterpreting each other. And maybe that could be a factor into also why he's sliding. What do you guys have to say about that?
I think that's a good point. But like in football, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like we're all one in the locker room, and and the cream rises to the top. Everybody's an alpha, and we go back to what Daniel said. It's knowing when, like you be that way on the field, right? And while you're playing in the locker room, right? But there are levels to it, right? And there's different ways you convey that confidence in different situations. And when you're talking to guys who are going to be your coaches and who are going to be your bosses, if you're coming off as, I'm the man already, that tells me it's going to be hard to coach you, right? Because you know everything. Right. Yep. And I'll say this too. There's guys who can't handle that, and there's guys who can. right? In my, oh no, okay, yeah, I know where that's coming from. We'll take care of that, you know, once he's in the building. But then you have guys who are like, damn, I ain't gonna be able to handle this, man. I don't want to deal with that or what comes with it. And like Dan, you said earlier, you have to know when to show that and how to, you know, like navigate that, when to turn it off and on. But it doesn't make you any less confident. It makes you a lot more aware. You know, it shows you have some, you know, situational intelligence, emotional intelligence, to where, you know, you can make it, you know, like make that adjustment, read the room, and be like, okay, yeah, I can't be like this, you know, in front of these guys.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
again, dude, you just made so many good points tonight that,
yeah,
you know,
really, man, at the end of the day, man, the confidence, and excuse out, confidence doesn't mean shit, man, unless you're competent. And so I mean, you know, that's really what it comes down to. You know, in this particular case, you know, man, I just don't think a lot of teams thought that this particular kid was competent in what he was doing out there, man. So you know, so they didn't have the confidence to go and pick him up.
I don't think that well, personally, I don't think that's the case as far as a competency. And you know,
let's just say at a first round level. At a first round level,
competency of the game, like
I mean,
talking about competency as far as like how he.
I mean, just overall play. Just you know, just can he get it done? You know what I mean? And I don't think that's, you know, well, obviously, you know, I don't think there's anybody that thinks he can.
So my question to you also, now that I think about it, I think they have the quarterback draw plays, dissect defense on the whiteboard.
Yeah.
Do you think maybe he did bad on that? Maybe it wasn't even an arrogance thing. Maybe it was he couldn't dissect defenses or read them.
We don't know.
I would listen. Just what he has access to. I mean, he trains with Tom Brady, so that's why I feel like, dude, if you can't, if he didn't do that at any point with him, like come on, man. That, I mean, that's malpractice.
And I think some of the things that what you did, you know, one example, just one of the things you just kind of muttered was, you know, he trains with Tom Brady, you know, and I think those are some of the small things that we're talking about that is kind of solidifying those things, right? It's the thing that's it's the elephant in the room, if you ask me. You know, but you know, I think there's one bigger
training with him and not being able to show that you gleaned anything from him.
Yeah, I think things like that might have exposed some things, and yeah, you know, but I think the bigger issue with that whole situation, man, might again, you know, coming from us might be a little rich, but you know, I think, you know, the bigger issue might be, you know, father. You know,
I think that's the issue.
Yeah, and I might go in a different direction than you may be going to with this. Where I think in this particular case, I don't think that it's people out to get his father. I think it's being under the wing of his father too long that have hurt him. You know, and kind of you know, stunted his growth as a man and a ball player.
But
you know, and showed that, you know, he may not be, you know, that bad word. He may not be coachable. He may know better than the coaches. You know, and it's just it's overall just it's a problem. You know, and not to mention he's got a Hall of Fame dad who is coaching, you know, that's always going to be, you know, in his ear.
Yeah. I'm like, listen, that's not my personality, you know, to, you know, be in the limelight with my son, you know what I'm saying? But I know what I instilled in my son, and you know, we're just two different guys, you know, like two different, you know, approaches to, you know, the lineage of, you know, of our kids playing. And so I'm not mad at him for being able to be in those positions to, you know, to keep coaching them. But I do agree with you on falling back a bit and allowing him to, you know, now you have to navigate these, you know, areas on your own because you have to you haven't earned what I've earned. Yeah. And kind of projected all that onto him. So I agree. I agree with you, but I wouldn't want to say that, because his dad coached him too long, because if he could.
Well, let's put it to one thing, right? And let's kind of put it to something that Melo kind of brought up with the confidence thing, right? Mm-hmm. Let's just say, hey, he's got too much swag for everybody, right? Yeah. And so who do we blame that on? You know what I mean? And I mean it's a real question. I mean, we're is that kind of thing, at the end of the day, is it a real problem? And where does that come from?
It's just hard for me, like when that is said, to accept, when it was Johnny Manziel in the other in Mayfield, like theirs was, I love their moxie.
But I know a lot of people that didn't like it. And that's
yeah, but it didn't ding them like it is, it's doing to Shedeur.
I mean, look, damn, man, look,
who's owning the team?
So be a liar, you know what I mean?
The reason I was bringing all this up is like with the cultural thing.
You cut off, Dan. What'd you say?
No, I was saying Manziel turned out to be a liar in the whole thing.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. But the reason I was bringing up the cultural thing, which will fit into what you guys are talking about right now, the owners are Caucasian, right? Yeah. So that's where the culture, where I say it stems from, and most of the GMs are the same. So they'll be able to look at Johnny Manziel and Baker Mayfield and see something different than what our culture sees and looks at them, and vice versa when it comes to someone like a Dion or a Shedeur, right?
No, I don't agree with that. I think the saying is what it is. Real recognizes real. I think across cultures, they see fake confidence. So I mean, it doesn't matter who you are. You talk about a guy who's in a room making billion-dollar deals. You think he doesn't know somebody's bullshitting?
That's a good point.
I don't agree with that.
That's a valid point. So, do you think it's going to
help?
You know
what? I think. So now I guess I'm getting what you're saying now. His daddy being there too long. Like, how confident are you without him?
That's a good
point. Is the same confidence is going to exist?
What Melo's kind of in what I'm going to go ahead and go out and saying, man. In a lot of these cases. I think guys, man, the guys you see on TV, man, are portraying something they're really not. It's a fake confidence.
I had a coach used to tell me, like, false enthusiasm gets you hurt.
Yeah.
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 There ain't no faking it till you make it in football.
Yeah.
Ain't none. Because you're gonna get exposed, immediately.
The bigger the chain, the bigger the strain, man. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I mean, that's in a nutshell, that's really what I'm saying. I think
I get what you're saying.
Fake.
So I kind of want to transition, but I want to stay along the draft. Yeah. So our boy Will Howard's there, right? John Gruden said he thinks he's QB1 of the draft. I think he has the potential to be QB1. I don't think he's QB1 right now, this second, but I think he has all the potential that he could be the best one to come out of this draft in terms of just his physical attributes and even his growth that he learned from Coach Day and Chip Kelly being here, right?
Experience.
And Coach. So I want to know, what do you think that he's going to end up being drafted? What round, if you had to guesstimate from your?
With that being said, man, it's trippier. After we just discussed, it's even more trippier that the Louisville kid went before him.
Yeah,
and with his resume, with his measurables. I think it's why I would love to know, what was the separator.
Yeah, and I mean, we know he's great on the whiteboard. John Gruden will put their quarterbacks through the test, and he's going to kill the whiteboard. So I just wonder what's hurting him.
Yeah,
Daniel, you look like you got something you want to say, so go ahead.
Man, because I'm just in my head, I'm thinking, man, yeah, I hear what you're saying, Duke. About some of the numbers and some of that, man, but the games a little different in the pro game, though, man. So
Yeah.
a guy like a Will Howard, man, might it's a totally different game up there when you're playing against the men, and it's what he's doing may translate a little bit better to some of these smaller guys that got to sit around and throw darts. So that's just kind of what I was thinking in my head, man. Just like damn man, I could see a Will going out there looking like a Josh Allen, man, for somebody. Yeah. It's some cold weather, man, and doing his thing, man. Yeah. That's just me personally.
No, I'm the same way. That's why I'm so confused why he's still on the board.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't understand how they decide, pick and choose who they're gonna draft.
Like sometimes the scouts and evaluators have their their favorite that they're they just look. I put all this time into this one kid. I see this. And there's no swaying. There's no swaying them from how much they like a particular kid.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that's how it goes.
Man, I think it just kind of just points to the thing I think a lot of people forget. Man, they're people. You know what I mean? They make mistakes, man.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking about high pressure situations. Man, it's this kid who transferred 2 or 3 times worth, X amount of dollars. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like my career on the line, picking up a quarterback who's got, this many completions on routes that are thrown behind the, the line of scrimmage, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it's a lot of pressure involved in this stuff, man. Yeah. And I think because it's on TV, we kind of forget about that, man. And again, kind of what I said a little bit earlier, man. To get to be around and actually meet some of the guys that we're seeing on the TV last night. We're seeing their names called today. Man, it just kind of it really hits home, man.
Right.
Just how real that thing is, man. Man, it is real what these people are going through. You know what I mean? It really is. Yeah, man. Like I say, it's a hell of a thing. Man. It really.
You guys
is.
keep talking. I'm about to pull something up that I'm gonna email and bring it over here because I want to ask you guys about it. It's kind of funny.
But man, the other thing that I just kind of was thinking about, as we're kind of doing this, and we didn't touch on this, and it's been another huge topic we haven't had a chance to talk about it, man, was along the lines of and I always just kind of, man, this is kind of advice, man. We're just talking, what I mean, we're just having a conversation, about what we think is right and wrong, what we did for our families, and that
right.
Just on the lines of man, what I would I hate to call it this, but it is what it is, bad advice, just on the again, everybody's seen it, the Nico thing, man.
Oh, yeah.
What I would call bad move, man, on his part. Not blaming the kid. Again, man, this is what we're doing. Man, we're just talking things out, man, just telling you what we think. One thing I did want to bring up before we kind of wrap this thing up, man, for the night, man. We're gonna do another one next week. We're going to be out here next week, and we got a special guest on things like advice.
Yeah.
We're going to have Vernell Brown Jr. Come on for us next week, man, to kind of talk about what he's doing on that end, and kind of keeping that thing moving, man.
Yeah,
that's kind of cool. You getting Vernell Brown on here?
Yeah,
man.
Man. We had a conversation. Speaking of something else, since somebody thinks they're cool, man, we're gonna drop. Somebody gonna pop in and say hello.
What up?
Is that my boy?
Yeah, he flew in. He got in last night.
Oh, he just came back now. He was up there chilling, huh?
Yeah, he just been chilling, man. So
Riley been here for what, a week now?
But yeah, Devin just got home, man. So this is
What are the boys up to?
Finals.
Yeah, he did well. You know, I'm you see this what I would call a report card on this thing, man. But you know, we old school. You know, see how these grades, see how their first semester went, man. So
I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah, man. That was. I wish I had a little more insight into like what really went on in that. You know, with Nico. I guess the word is it was advice of his his dad, but it was just like misguided.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah,
it is.
Then the brother bounced.
Why you think you wouldn't?
And they try to get their money back. I wonder what that. I'm interested to see how that works out.
They gonna get that money.
They broke them off. He's like, "Oh, I'm out."
Get that back.
Oh no.
Yeah, they getting it back.
Did they go?
I don't know. I don't know. Like how he did that. I would think there was stuff written in, that he had, had to fulfill in order to like get that. It's crazy if you just, I don't know. That was why I'm like, dang, I have to double up.
Yeah.
What you got there?
I'm about to pull it up, man. I want to get your thoughts about this. I saw this on actually on Devin's Instagram, to be honest with you. What's your thoughts about this right here? Hey, chat, I want to know your thoughts as well.
I mean,
Josh Simmons, aka Javon McFadden, got drafted. The first player to not even play a snap of college football yet gets straight drafted in the first round by the Kansas City Chiefs.
Wait, he didn't play a snap of what are you talking about?
This is one of the 25 mid-years, man. This is what they yeah, this is one of the
This is the picture they used for Josh Simmons.
Okay, yeah. I'm like, hold on, what are you talking about?
So this goes to a subject, right? That I personally, right, and not just as a dad, that as a person that consumes a lot of these podcasts, right? Because I do it, I won't say any names, man. I listen to a lot of them, just throughout the day, throughout doing what I'm doing, and a pet peeve of mine, man, is when small little details like things like that, not knowing that a kid played in the spring game when you didn't even know that he was on campus, and you're talking about depth charts, little small things like that, man, are huge when it comes to things, man. Just take your time. You don't have to be first at everything. Right. Be right in what you do, man.
Be right. Yeah. I mean, and it's especially if you're just a new guy, man, it's kind of you already got a mark on your credibility. Like, do your due diligence. It's worth it. What they say, measure twice, cut once.
Crazy.
Yeah, whatever the media version of that, do that.
So how long are the boys back before they go back to campus?
I think till 11th, May 11th.
Yeah, something like.
Oh, so they back for a little bit. They got a nice little break.
Yeah.
They're gonna be relaxing, recovering and stuff.
Right. To be honest, Riley's been training. Riley's been training with Michael Parsons a couple of times this week. He be getting after it still. I'm like, I want to tell him to chill, but I'm like, no, I guess but
I got a question for Daniel.
Can't.
I was just wondering because I know Dorian Brew and Devin trained a little bit together during high school, and this is before Dorian committed. Will they still, do you think, still train together with the same trainer, or how's that going to work?
I don't know. We're locked in with One Way, Ja'Cory. So I mean, that's what we're doing. I don't know what anybody else is doing. I can't speak for my guy.
Yeah, but does it make it awkward if they show up at the same place together?
Man, these kids are different, man. I know in my generation, man, it would have been a problem for me. That's just
train with somebody.
Well, yeah, kind of, depending on, in that situation where, you know, man, I'm going to play this dude's team and, you know, a little bit, we're rivals, think kind of that, you know, quasi, you know, that kind of thing. It might have been a little bit of a problem for me, you know, guys of my age. These kids are totally different, man. They you know, and maybe they're better than we are. You know, we're you know, they can do those kinds of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was just a random question that I was wondering.
Yeah.
No reason.
Yeah, no, I don't know what my guy Bruce gonna do, man. Let's say, you know, that's my guy. You know, man, I like him. You know, but say if he's ever in town, you know, training, you know, if he's with One Way, you know, we gonna be with One Way.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, you guys got anything else you guys want to talk about, discuss? Or are you guys good?
No, we're good. We can wrap it up, man. And just and then you close them out with, you know, about next week.
Yeah, man. Like I said, you know, we're gonna be back on next Friday. You know, again, you know, talking about, you know, advice. You know, just in what we're doing. You know, we're going to try to bring on somebody, you know, with a little bit of different angle. You know, this guy is a parent as well, but, you know, more on the professional side, you know, and just have him talk a little bit about, you know, just, you know, giving advice in this game, you know, with Vernell Brown Jr., man. So look forward to that, you know, everybody coming in and, you know, being with us next week.
Yep.
Duke, you got any last comments for Buckeye Nation?
Not tune in. Keep tuning in, man.
Yeah,
and, you know, we're going to keep adding, you know, bringing on, you know, different guests that have different expertise and insight into, you know, college recruiting and, you know, the sports world, parenting, all of that. So just keep tuning in. Tell a friend. Tell a friend.
Me to Buckeye Nation, thank you guys for tuning in. Pops Pod is by far the most important YouTube channel on YouTube, period. And if you have kids, no matter what sport it is, that are trying to go ahead and play Division I college, Division II, Division III, whatever it may be, these are the gentlemen to talk to. They've helped me tremendously. I thank them. I can't overstate how much they've helped me. And I salute to both you gentlemen. And you guys need to tune in, like, subscribe. Don't miss a Friday show. If you're going to miss anything, make sure Friday you're here tuned in. And if you have any questions, please ask. Please ask any recruiting questions. These guys have seen it all, done it all, been through it all themselves. Their wives have been through it. Their kids have been through it. These are athletic families. And I mean, some people are just born to do stuff like this. And you have two elite gentlemen that will help you. Use it. I'm telling you, this is free game, free advice. Use it, listen, take it in. But be genuine about how you're taking it in as well. You got to really want the advice. You can't be here worrying about, hey, how much money can we get? How do we negotiate the top dollar? That's not what this show is about. This is about helping you find out what's important to you and your family and your kid and the pathway to go. And that's why Ohio State is setting the standard, because of parents like this that produce elite kids who have elite character. And that's why we're going to be a dynasty here to come forever, for a long time. Since World War II, there's a reason Ohio State has been on top, and it's because of gentlemen like this. So on that note, I salute you too. Thank you for having me on. And
Yeah.
Hi-yo.